We're heading straight into trouble, but this video is not about trying to persuade you one way or another way. I'm going to show you how I'm preparing for that trouble. But there's not just going to be one universal blanket size fits all kind of problems heading at us. There's going to be two different kinds of problems that I see could potentially come. Now, no matter who wins in November, I don't see it being peaceful. But I'm going to ask you to be peaceful. This video is not going to try to persuade you to vote for the blue team or to vote for the red team. It has nothing to do with that. This video is going to be all about getting ready for the two different kinds of problems that we could be facing as people of the United States. And who am I to even give you my opinion? Well, here's the fact. I'm just a businessman. That's all I am. But my job as the leader of my company is to see what is happening and then to be proactive, not reactive. Back in 2007, the economy was going phenomenal. It was just grow, grow, grow. But the writing was on the wall. And I sat down with my guys in 2007 and I said, next year in 2008, we are cutting our company in half. In 2008, like a clock, the economy tanked. It crashed. I had already cut my company in half, cut all of the unnecessary components out, and I had only the most vital components in my business. Consequently, in 2007 and 2008, when a lot of companies were completely disappearing off from the radar screen, my company was making the money exactly the same as it had the year before. This is what being proactive means. Looking at the indicators that are coming and getting ready for them before they just hit you blindsided. Now, I see what is potentially coming at us in November being way beyond business. Way beyond just worrying about your financial situation. Now, my wife may say that I'm being a bit extreme, but everything that I'm going to share with you today is based on actual events that have recently occurred. There's no theory, there's no conjecture. This is based on what is actually happened and taking that and extrapolating that into the future based on nothing else changing. Hear me out, because the problems if the red team win and the problems if the blue team win are not going to be the same problems. Let's get into it right now. First off, why am I saying red team and blue team? Well, because the video format that you are watching on right now is highly censored, highly manipulated, to the point where just a few years ago, if I said the words co and then the words vid together, my videos would have instantly been sandboxed, unless... The platform that you're watching this on is by no means considered a free speech platform. To back it up to what I was saying about the co and then vid jab, is if we made a video saying you should go out and get the co and then vid jab, your video got pushed up, got shown in front of millions of people, got more views than it should normally have ever gotten. But if you went ahead and said, hey, don't go and get the co and then the vid jab, then your videos got hidden. There's a lot of things I cannot say on this platform, and so I'm going to try to dance my way around them and hopefully still get you guys the message so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So when I say red team and blue team, hopefully you can figure out exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if the red team wins in November, it's not going to be peaceful. Things will happen. But those things that will happen if the red team win are going to be completely different than if the blue team wins. What I see happening in November, if the red team wins, then there will be riots, looting, people walking down the middle of highways trying to shut them down. And the reason I say that is because in my hometown of Minneapolis, a town that I currently live 15 minutes outside of, I still have a home there. Within the last 3 years, there was a number of incidences where Minneapolis was burned down. You've probably heard about it. And that started this fire across the nation of cities getting destroyed because people were angry over what they had seen. Now, while they destroyed our cities, the law-abiding citizens were forced into our houses at 11 o'clock at night and not allowed to go out, while the rest of the world was out destroying public property. The law-abiding citizens were locked away for our own safety. Whether it was justified or not justified, I am not talking it's right or wrong. I'm talking about what I have technically seen. My city burned to the ground. My police were chased out of their offices, and I see a wash, rinse, and repeat of that happening again if the red team takes over. But then after that, it's going to continue to be unsettled. It just won't be done all, it won't be over all at once, but it'll be just almost status quo of what we've seen happening the last 3 years. But now, if the blue team takes the ball and they win, the problems that we see are going to be completely different, because the people that back the red are not going to riot. They're not going to loot. They're not going to walk highways shutting them down. That's just not their MO. They're going to probably stand in front of those businesses and protect those businesses because they feel like those are their brothers in arms, their fellow entrepreneurs. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you just don't typically see the red side rioting, looting, walking on highways and trying to shut them down. It's not what's going to happen. That's not going to be the problem. If the blue team wins, what's going to happen is there's some world leaders, which are some nasty folks. They're not our friends. We've seen increased aggressive action from Vladimir Putin, the head of Russia, Xi Jinping, the ruler of China, and Kim Jong-un, the little dude from North Korea. Why would they change course? They're watching these elections as closely as you and I are. And what happens in November is going to be an indicator to them of what they can do. Do they maintain their present course of aggressive actions or even potentially escalate it, or do they de-escalate it? Now, if the red team wins, there's going to be rioting and looting, and that's not good. But the people that are rioting and looting are throwing rocks and sticks. Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and the little dude from North Korea, they're throwing nuclear missiles. Things could get really hairy really fast. Things could get worse, but that's not just where the problems begin. I don't see the borders getting quiet either. I see currently we have 8 million undocumented people coming into the country, and in some cases people are saying closer to 20 million. Sanctuary cities, which were welcoming people in, specifically cities like New York, are now saying, hey, we can't take any more people. So far I'm trying not to base anything on conjecture or theory, but everything on what I've actually seen happen and that you've seen happen and you know is occurring. But one of the odd things that we do need to keep on our radar screen while we're talking about trouble is the fact that if we do get into a global conflict, they are already talking about enforcing a draft, which means that the United States people will be forced to go off and fight a global conflict while we have millions upon millions of undocumented people silently coming into the country. Do you see how that could be a problem? Our fighting age men and women are leaving the country while undocumented fighting age men are coming into the country. Do you see why I'm so worried about problems and this way beyond just business? My advice to you is to get away from any major metropolitan areas. So I see major metropolitan areas becoming hotspots for problems. Buy land. Get your land as far away from any major metropolitan areas as you possibly and safely can. But you've got to be able to get to that land in case stuff goes sideways, and it goes sideways fast. And that land has to support you. It's never too late to start. Now, I've seen the writing on the wall for a while now, and I have been getting ready. And I'm going to share with you everything that I've done to get ready. It's not a perfect plan, but if my plan can help plant some seeds for you guys to get your plan in place, then this video has won right straight there. So let's dive right into what I'm doing to get ready just in case. Now, Now we're back on, I have 80 acres of land with no electricity, no running water, but I do have it set up that you can live out here. In fact, my daughter has been living out here for over 3 years with no electricity, no running water, and no problems. Of course, she's a little bit of a different breed. Okay, so out in this back 80 acres of land, we've got a greenhouse. Inside of that greenhouse, we have a stove. We're going to have a bigger, better stove than that one. But the most important thing we have is a hand pump well. So at any time we can come out here, prime it, crank it, and drink from the water. And I've tested that water out. It's delicious. It's freaking delicious. Filtered through Mother Earth herself. If things get too tense where I'm at, I've got a mobile home, or whatever you call these things, parked and ready to go. I can pop this son of a duck open, boom, boom, slide out, and I've got a place to stay right out here. This is my bug out shelter. When I said get yourself land as far away from the city as possible, the problem is this land is not far enough away to be completely safe. It's within 100 miles of the city limits. And I would prefer to be 200, 300, 400 miles away from any city limits. Power. I have an electrical grid system set up right there. So I have a solar system set up there, plus I have a portable one set up. Now this is more of a permanent setup, and this is great if I can get up there. I've also got a mobile setup that I'm going to show you in just a minute, but let's take a look at this permanent setup. So out here for power, what I've got is a complete array of solar panels set up on a homemade system that Frankie and I built. And this can actually be rotated so that if we're not getting enough juice from one portion of the sky, we can physically pick it up and slide it over. We've also got temporary panels set up down here. And I don't believe in putting all of your eggs in one basket, so I have multiple systems running at different locations. Now, having a stationary system that you can go and depend on is phenomenal, but it's not practical for everybody. But I am going to recommend that you have a portable system at the very minimum and keep that on standby. Now, the system I'm opening up here is by a company called E-Taker. And the thing about this system is it's plug and play. They've taken the guesswork out of how to use this system. So it's got 3 ways to charge it. The primary way that you can charge it for the fastest charging is just to simply plug it into a wall. The secondary way that you can charge it is if you're on the road, you can charge this system up with your car charger. But the thing that really draws me to this system is the fact that it can also hook up to portable solar panels that they provide with their system. Now they're optional, but again, this all blends together as one plug and play, trying to make your life as simple as possible if times get hectic. The thing though about it is it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's not bulky. The battery itself, it is heavy. It's a heavy-duty, well-built unit. But let's take a little bit closer look at some of the parts that they put into this thing. Now, when you're on the road and you got to go, you don't want to figure out if you got all the right connections. They did it for you. E-Taker has the connections for their solar panels right inside of the solar panels themselves. All of your outgoing power and your ingoing power on separate ends of the unit. This end is your outgoing power, USB ports, car chargers, wall outlets. Everything you need to plug something in is on one side. But when you need to charge the unit up itself, you just spin this around to the back, and your 3 separate ways of inputting power are right in the back. You can plug it in through your car, like I said before, into the wall, or through your solar panels. But here's what I like about it. It's heavy duty, but it's not too heavy that you can't just grab your stuff and go. It's a completely portable system, and you can toss this into the trunk of your car and take it with you. Remember, this is about surviving. When times get stressful, you want to be able to grab this and go knowing you have everything you need. Now, this system by eTaker, in my opinion, is an absolute survival tool because not only will this provide you power, but this will also jumpstart your car. But let's look at what they claim. Cell phone. You can charge your cell phone 143.8 times. Your laptop 38 times. You can run an LED light bulb for 385 hours. You can use a microwave for 2.6 hours. That's huge. You can use a drone 48 times, a car refrigerator for 48 hours, a coffee machine for 1.8 hours, or an electric drill for 1.6 hours. And that's all from one charge. Then you can charge it again and do it all over again. To have redundancy, to have a backup to your primary system is critical, but to also have a system that allows you to travel. If we're talking about problems coming, you're going to want to be able to be on the move and get away from those problems if they come to your primary residence while you're on your way to your bug out shelter. Now, you're also going to need a tool to defend yourself. I cannot say what this tool is, but when I say redundancy is key, you're going to need this tool not just for self-defense, you're going to need this tool for survival, for your ongoing survival. You're going to need this tool to get away from trouble, and then once you get yourself out into wherever you're headed, you're going to use this same tool for food supply. But you're going to want this tool to be multi-purpose, and I say redundancy is key. You're going to want a tool that can see far off into the distance and use that for harvesting food. But you're also going to need a tool for close distance just in case trouble comes your way and it gets a little bit too close to home. You're also going to need fuel. You're not going to be able to drive your vehicles on air. So I've got fuel stored in 55-gallon drums, but not just any fuel. For gasoline, I'm using Aspen. Aspen is one of the only 2 fuels available stateside that has a 5-year shelf life. With any other fuel, they have a 3-year shelf life. Whoa, I'm gonna jump in here because I just realized I said standard fuels have a 3-year shelf life. No. It's 3 months, and that's because they're sticking ethanol into our fuels. And if you don't know what ethanol is, it's basically a different form of alcohol. And alcohol dries out the fittings inside of your engine and basically ruins your fuel. So let's go back into what this fuel is, because I didn't mean 3 years, I meant 3 months. Standard fuel has a 3-month shelf life, including engineered fuels. The 2 best fuels that are available are steel and Aspen. Steel and Aspen are identical fuels. The reason why I buy Aspen over steel is this is 2/3 the cost of what steel is charging for the exact same fuel. Now, both my primary residence here in the city as well as my backup residence out in the country have backup heat. Just like anybody else's house here in the cities, I hit the thermostat and the heat comes on and boom, Bob's your uncle. But that makes me dependent on someone else for my own welfare. So I have a backup wood burning fireplace installed and ready to go, both here in the cities and if I got to bug out of the cities for some reason, up north where I'm heading. Now, having a wood burning fireplace is great and everything, but if you don't have wood, it doesn't do you anything. So I make sure that no matter where I'm at, I've got enough wood to last me at least 1 full season. So having plenty of fuel so that you're not scrambling to keep your family warm is a key to help you in a troubled time when you're already stressed. You get out of Dodge, you crank up your fireplace, you're warm, you've got your food, you've got everything, all of these things in a row. Now, here's another thing that I'm doing that you probably aren't going to need to do, but I went the extra step. I got myself a portable 440-gallon fuel trailer. I can hook up to this and take this with me no matter where I go. To me, this is a business asset that also becomes a survival tool. Now, I'm not spending a ton of money on all of this stuff. I'm also very critical when it comes to it. So in this case, I did go with Boss trailers. I went with Boss because they're almost 50% cheaper than the competition. I have an obligation to protect my family. And if you're like me, you're probably going to do the best you can to protect your family. Now, my plan is not perfect by any means. It's the best what I could do with what I have. But I do have another plan. My plan is this summer, I'm going to go on a road trip across America. I'm going to try to look for some of the safest places I possibly can that offer me the best possible price on land, that gives me the most land in the most remote location where I can still use it to harvest food, have water, and create a safe haven for my family. So my question to you is, where? Where is a good place in America that you think is still safe and secure, that a guy could take his family and get out of Dodge and get away from problems if problems come your way? What do you think, Stellar? There's my babies. It's my babies. But that's all I've got for you in this video. Now it's your turn. Talk to me. Do you think there's any validation in what I said? If you do, let me know. Do you see the potential problems being different than what I've said? If you do, let me know. If you think what I'm doing is going way overboard, if you do, then let me know. I don't mind hearing from you guys. And I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Don't let November separate you from friends and family. We have one voice, one vote. It's not worth losing lifelong friends, lifelong family, fighting, bickering. None of that is worth it. We cast our vote and we pray that things go the right way and that they just go a lot smoother than what I see in this video. But that's it for this one. God bless you guys. Go get them. And I pray that you stay safe. See you on another one, guys.